Hi viewers, I'm your host Akil Emmanuel and I welcome you to the Akil Show. Today's topic is very interesting because today I'm going to talk about a professional woman at the same time they having a family as well. So today's my guest, she is a full-time professor in the BYU Hawaii. She teach here hospitality and tourism for the past 3 years and she had a family too. So she is full-time professor working on her career and she have a family too with children. So I like to welcome my guest Sister Poerava and I want her to introduce herself to you. So Sister Poerava, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, Akil. Thank you for asking.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today to have an interview with you. And today's our podcast topic is balancing career, family, and being a role model to her children. So before I shoot questions on you, I just like you to introduce yourself, your family, your career path to our viewers.
Sure, thank you, Akil. I'm Poerava, Brodia Hapairai. I'm from Tahiti originally, but we live here now in Hawaii. Yes, I do speak French because I have this accent. Everyone says it's cute, but I can't really hear. Anyhow, I am actually a graduate from BYU Hawaii. Graduated with my bachelor's degree in hospitality and tourism, which is what I teach a long time ago. And yeah, I do have a husband. I have three children, and we love it here. My husband loves it here.
Mm-mm.
He's a fond person of Hawaii.
All right, thank you so much for sharing. So let's get started. My first question is, you're balancing your career and family, which many people find difficult. How have you learned to manage your time between raising your children and building your career?
That's a very good question. It's not something that's easy to do. It does require quite a lot of planning and a lot of support. Because when we arrived here, there were no daycare for my youngest, who was barely 10 months old. So we had to find someone to come and watch our kid at home, or a daycare. Daycare were not even an option. With that, learning how to do what I do now was a steep learning curve, if I can say that like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way that you balance it out is that my husband was 100% behind our move here, 100% behind me getting this career, and we had to talk out hours where he was going to be working, where I was going to be working. Luckily, he works from home, so that made it easier. But really, what is helping quite a lot now is that my sister-in-law and brother-in-law moved in with us, and now my brother-in-law is our full-time caretaker for the youngest one. So it's not an easy feat if it's just you and your husband. You actually need a big network, or you need to be making a lot of money to be able to afford very expensive daycare.
Yeah, makes sense. That's great approach. Now, what about teaching your kids the importance of education and hard work? How do you show them the value of these things?
Well, my husband keeps telling my children, your mom is going to work. She works long hours, and she's also working on her PhD. And it's quite a lot of time taken away from the family, but we have to support her. So they're seeing this as mom trying to finish what she started, because I started this before they were this age. They were really, really young. And with that, we also started farming at the Kapaka farm here. And so we are instilling in our children that nothing comes for free. Everything has a cost, and cost is labor, it's time, it's money, it's relationship, it's all these different things. So hopefully through all these things, we're able to show them that if you have a dream, if you have a goal, you can accomplish it, but it does require sacrifices. In my case, I sacrifice my time with my kids and with my family to be able to finish my work and the other work I do. But it's building character in the fact that, everything, has a place, and we just have to give a little bit more rather than expect more.
Yeah, that's so true. As a professor, you must have many students looking up to you. How do you encourage your students, especially women, to pursue careers in academia or other fields?
Well, that's an interesting question. I didn't think I was going to be a role model, but when I arrived, I had all these women come and ask me questions about how to make it work out. And I mean, it's interesting to see how much. Obviously, I'm a religious person, so I believe in God. How much God has had His hand
Yeah.
in our lives. And I came here, I was like, oh, I want to give back is what I know about tourism, but actually I'm giving more than just what I know about tourism.
Yeah.
What it is to be a woman, how women are still considered, differently than men in many instances, and how it is difficult to want career and family life, but it is feasible as long as you are, as a couple, on board with the idea of getting somewhere.
Yeah, that's very empowering. Now, as both a mother and a professor, how do you find the balance between personal life and work life, especially with the pressure of both?
The balance is really when I leave school, then I'm off. That's really what I do. I do real separation. I try to work as long as I can in my office, and then when I leave my office, that's it. There's no more work, and I don't answer email. I will take calls if you can call me, but I usually don't give out my phone number because I do not want students to reach out. I actually want a real cut. So I take that, and I also take time just to be with my kids and do things with my kids or my family. But the work-life balance is really saying I'm giving enough in both sides.
Yeah.
And so they don't feel like they've been missing out on things.
Okay, it's a great that you have a support system in place. Now, many women feel that pressure of balancing career and family. What advice would you give to women who are thinking of starting a family while pursuing their career?
You can do it all. This is what a professor of mine said, and she's super smart and she knows what she's talking about. You can do it all and you can have it all, but you can't do it the best. So if you're okay with not having everything perfect, then you can have it all.
Yeah.
And so that's the real thing here. It's that you're never going to be the best mom that has the Pinterest board, but you will be there for your kids when they need you.
Yep.
And maybe you won't get all those promotions, but at the end, you'll still be able to feed your kids and grow personally. So you also have to give priority. And there are stages in your life where you can give more to some other things. So
Yeah.
it's prioritizing. Yes, that's the right word.
That's correct. Such important advice. Now, can you tell us about a time when you faced challenge balancing your career and family and how you overcome it?
Whew, plenty time. But I'll just give you one example. We decided that I was going to go full-time PhD student, and so we moved our whole family from the town we were living at, where my husband's job was at the time, to closer to the university, which is a 2 hours and 20 minutes drive one way. And as we got there, my husband was hoping to find a job. It didn't pan out. So what do? Not go to work and find something at Walmart, or keep your work that you worked so hard to get, and at the same time start being a student and working on your end goal, educational goal. So we had to make a decision, and I said, okay, well, I'll take it easy and I'll take care of the kids and get into some loans to be able to just afford daycare for my kids, and then my husband would drive 2 hours and stay 5 days close to his work, and then come back on the weekend. That was very difficult. A lot of stress for me and a lot of sleepless night because I had very young children. But we made it work, because we just knew that we had the strength to do it. Yep. But it wasn't easy. Anyhow, we managed. A year after, We had finally emerged something, good.
Mm-hmm.
And people have to keep in mind that it's only a certain period of time. It's not going to be all your life.
Yes.
And so don't despair, because it's just there for a moment. It hurts and it's hard and it's everything that you don't want to be doing. But once you go over that bump, it's nice.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
That sounds like a tough situation, but you manage it with patience and flexibility. Now, as a role model for your kids, what are some lessons you hope to teach them about hard work and achieving their goals?
Well, I want my children to know that first, it's okay to fail. If you don't try, then you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's okay to fail, but then if you really want something, it's okay to try it again.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you really want to be somebody that finish everything, like my husband, anything he starts, he finish. I'm more of a starter and hang on to it for a while. But really, that's what I want my kids to know, is that it's okay to start many things. It's okay to not finish some things, but it's also okay to do one thing and just go with it and finish it. Pretty much, it's okay to pick and choose what you want to do with your life. You just have to be responsible for what comes after.
Yeah.
And that's really what I want my children to grow to be. Adults that are understanding that choices have consequences. They be positive or negative, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to have the strength to face them.
Yeah, those are great lessons. Now, being a woman in academia, what challenges have you faced and how have you empowered other women who are pursuing careers in the same field?
To be honest, I don't think I've encountered as much pressure that I did in the I want to say not the public, not the professional, but in the other industry I was working at, which was tourism. That's probably not a good word, but sexism. No, not in academia.
Yeah.
And I was inspired by my professors from here at BYU all the way to my master's, to my PhD. Lots of women in academia who have flourished doing this. And it's actually here at BYU, I feel like I'm very supported. I never felt threatened. I've never felt less than. I never felt like my gender was a defining point in me accessing things. So it's been a really good environment to work in.
Well, I also believe like it is because it's a church education system, and we have a very strict honor code for the staff and for the students, and the policies are very good, like you have to follow. And these things sometimes you don't find in other companies and businesses, right? So that's the beauty of the church education system and the church institutes. Like they follow the honor code and they respect the genders regardless they are men or women, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that, although I want to say it's mostly time. Because 20 years ago, I don't think it was the same than what it is in 2025.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot of things that have happened throughout the years that even the church had to change and adapt. Yes. I won't go into too many details, but I feel like since I arrived, 2022, to now, they've done a really good job to really create this equal or more equitable playing field for all of us. So I enjoy it. I think it's really nice. I hope this continues on, because it's so much better than when I was in my 20s.
Yeah. So as you just mentioned about your experience in the tourism side, and you said that about that field is like not really good for the women because of some other stuffs had been happened or offered. So in that term that you are teaching here, hotel and tourism, and so what you feel the women who are taking these courses or they are pursued to major in hotel and tourism, do they have a right choice or do they have a right career path or they are secure in that field because you already had an experience with that?
I think any field is okay, but there are fields that have made more progress. So in tourism in general, a lot of the low entry level jobs are held by women. But more and more throughout the years I worked in there, you could see more and more women advancing and getting those, higher positions, which is nice. But it's also a mentality thing where even women who had to fight tooth and nail to get where a male is, sometimes we're acting like male. So it's the mentality of shifting from, the strongest will survive to like everyone could be given a chance.
Yeah.
And should be treated as fairly as they can, under certain circumstances, which is the mentality that's growing more and more. Whereas before it was more of a, if you can't do it, then,
yeah,
don't be there. Or like we have as women certain things that limit us. And before it's like, if you can't do the men's job, then you shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Well, that's not 100% true, Yes, we have a limitation, but that doesn't mean we can't be accommodated.
Yeah, that's very inspiring. Lastly, what advice would you give to women who are trying to building a career while raising a family? How can they stay motivated?
That's a very, very good question. How can you stay motivated? It's hard. Sometimes you just want to give up because there's less friction. What kept me going was my spouse. He's been there like all the time. And then, when you see your kids and you say, why am I doing this? It's not just for you. It's for the next generation.
Yeah.
So you're trying to build yourself in such a way that you can help the next generation do the same or better than you, and have this strong foundation. So hopefully that's enough. Sometimes that isn't. You have to dig inside yourself and find out what truly motivates you. Do you absolutely need a job to be defined? Is this how you would define your worth? Or, do you need a career to define yourself? Or is it more of I'm trying to grow myself a little bit more?
Yeah.
So finding the right intrinsic motivation, something that's driving you, that's probably the best thing you can find. And if you go back to God, we're here to learn and we're here to become like Him. So that should be a motivation in itself, just to get more knowledge and, learn from everything that's going to come at you.
Yeah.
And that sometimes you just have to set small goals. And once you reach it, just tap yourself on the back and say, hey, I did it 2 hours today or an hour today.
Yeah. So you have to make sure to motivate yourself every day rather than rely on other people to motivate you, right? Thank you so much, Poerava, for sharing your experiences and insights with us today. You have given us so much valuable advice on time management, being a role model, and empowering women. So I'd like to thank you once again for this opportunity to sit next to you and asking you some of your experience, questions, and about your family. So thank you so much once again for giving me this time to have an interview with you.
Thank you, Akil. It was nice.
Thank you so much, everyone. I like to talk to my listeners now. Thank you so much for watching our podcast, and I hope that this topic really helped those women who are struggling with this situation while you are full-time mother and full-time employee in the company, in the school, or any organization. Sometimes it's really hard being a mother and being a professional woman because you are going through a lot of things and around you to balance. But this is how the life is, right? So I hope that our podcast help you to understand like life is very beautiful. You just have to learn how to balance your life. So till then, thank you so much for listening to us. Do subscribe my channel, like and comment. Till then, see you in the next episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.